Welcome, everyone. This is Tony Wheel from Florida. And of course, I have to do a brief weather report. I thought it was funny. It is beautiful here. It is sunny, it is warm, but to a point, I can have the windows open. So it's amazing. I love it. Not saying that I'm going to sit outside in the sun for 30 minutes because even my sun-loving plants don't appreciate that too much. I did finish, well, almost finish my flower garden. I actually make a video from a huge bumblebee who was going from flower to flower to flower, and it's absolutely gorgeous. We did it was a slow time, and we did redid the whole yard, and it is. Yeah, I know I should have planted more fruit thingies, but that will come. For now, it is just all these gorgeous, gorgeous flowers in all colors. I'm so happy. I'm just when I walk up to it and I'm like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. I'm absolutely having a blast with my yard. So anyway, um, of course I have to introduce my beautiful yeah, I can't should I call you guys a team? Are we a team? Yeah, we are a team.
Team, yeah.
Part of the team, Gary Parent, Sarah from Virtuous Unicorns, and Katie, and they all have so much to share and their experiences, their wisdom. We just had an interesting discussion about ivermectin. I'm not going into that right now, but I'm learning. I'm always learning, always open to learn. And anyway, so what it all comes to with our health and is cleaning out the system, detox. It's. I mentioned that so many times. You see a detoxification everywhere. You can go into any grocery store or drugstore, and there's something about detox this, a detox tea, and detox pills, and etc. But what really is detoxification? I put a little text in the what is it in the description of the video, and I will read you that. I want to read you that part, and that is the human body is basically and simplistically made up of approximately. And I was looking at that number, and I was like, how many zeros does that have? Is that really 100 trillion cells, approximately? And two fluids, blood and lymph. Dr. Morse often talks about that, and that takes care of all the cells. Detoxification is a vital process the body uses when it gets too acidic and full of mucus and pain from the chemistry, the diet, one puts in it. It becomes essential to restore hydration and health to these two fluids and the cells if true healing is ever to be restored and the genetic condition of the cell to regenerate. Dr. Morse wrote this, and it actually comes from his book, and it is not available right now. So I made from that's a whole section of the book. It's 15 pages about what is detoxification and the cleansing process, what to expect. I have it in a PDF. So anyone who is interested in getting this overview, because we are not able to even read 15 pages and discuss things, so we go over it briefly, and I'll put it on the screen in a minute. It is a book that I think it's laminated pages in a binder. It's in landscape. It has very good information in there, and it's the basic information that actually everyone needs to know before they start with their detox program. And detoxing is like, oh, it's not like you do it one time and never again. I would actually see it as this is something great. It's the same as with fasting. Do it in just before the spring, just before all the fruits start to ripen, so that once you have done your cleansing, and we all well, I think we all favor the master cleanse. It was called master cleanse, right?
Yeah.
I'm still with, like, we have the master fast, which I do not
Yeah.
like at all.
No, I
We
do
have
not
the
like that.
master cleanse, which is basically It is just fresh lemon juice, of course, and in water and some maple syrup and a tiny pinch of Celtic salt. And yeah, Dr. Morse has an overview of that. They add cayenne in it. I'm not a favorite of cayenne. It hurts my throat. And once in a while, okay, it helps you with circulation, definitely. So you can do that. But that would always be, a great thing to do especially in the spring, just before all that ripe fruit is going to be there, which sometimes you need to search for it. But there's always a farmer's market, and talk to the farmers and see where they are, and if you can visit and ask what their practices are, because they are not legally organic, but they use organic practices because they can call it that way. So that's always a good thing to do, but unfortunately, I wish the book would still be available. And when I got it, I paid $125 for it. They lowered the price down to $100, and I have been searching on their website. I can't find it. So as soon as I can find it, I will definitely let everyone know. But for now, we have to do it with this part, and I will see if I can share it so you can read while we're talking, and then let me know if you're interested in having the PDF. So let me see if I can find the share part. Every time I think I know how Zoom works, they change something again. Okay, share button is there now. Okay, got it. And that is the screen. Okay. And it's actually this part. I have it open in what is that called? Acrobat. And there was a section is where he says one needs to approach detoxification from a whole body perspective. We cannot say like, okay, we have we have a pain here or there, and now that pain has to go. I can assure you, when you start detoxing, it's not you who decide what is going to heal, your body will. And that may not be exactly what you were looking for, but eventually, you will heal, whatever it is, wherever the pain came from. So anyway, we must clean, strengthen, and let the body rebuild all its tissues, as this also includes genetic weaknesses. And then we come to another thing that I hear quite often, and I thought the same thing. All the women in my family, they had thyroid issues. And so I was like, yeah, oh well, this is the way it is. And there's nothing that you can do about it other than, of course, talking about a long time ago, but nothing has really changed, that you get a whole bunch of pharmaceuticals. When you go to detox, and I rather actually would use the word, in a healing diet, but I don't think we can even use that. Then even your genetic weaknesses, your body will heal. That includes the genetic weaknesses, the way Dr. Morse shows it here. The power and intelligence your body has for regeneration is unbelievable, given the right chemistry. Nature is more powerful than humans realize, as nature is the power. Also, by cleaning the acids and mucus from the tissues of your body, greater cellular respiration begins. This allows the cells to regain or exceed their past performances through increased AMP, ADP, and ATP production and use. This all brings a dynamic state of health and vitality to the body as a whole. The more acidic, but was acidic as, I think I missed a part of the word here. Foods and drinks like protein, starch, soft drinks, etc., that we put into our body, the more our immune lymphatic system becomes compromised. And okay, here we go. A word I use congestion. That one is easier. As these types of food cause kidney damage and therefore loss of filtration and elimination. Remember, as we continue to acidify and toxify our bodies, our cellular energy begins to decrease and one's cellular functionality begins to decrease. Then, this then causes symptomology and cellular genetics. Now, when I have issues pronouncing a word correctly, please understand I'm Dutch. This is my second language. I do the best I can. In Dutch, you pretty much pronounce every letter in the word. In English, if you don't, in American English and probably in the UK English too, British English, you got to do it really fast, like you swallow half of the words, and then it sounds all right. I sometimes have troubles with words that I haven't practiced yet, so my apologies. Toxicity, acidosis, is threatening to eliminate us as a species. A world of intellectualism and academics has led humans away from the obvious and simplistic, leading them into confusion, misunderstanding, and fear. There simply is a ton of lies spread about health, especially by those that know the least. And we all know what we are talking about. Detoxification is simply nature's natural cleansing, hydrating process and is the most misunderstood process the body moves through. The body is an extraordinary self-healer and self-cleanser. We have testimonials on bones that have straightened themselves out after years of being deformed, scoliosis, quadriplegic, etc. We have seen complete severing of the spinal cord fully reconnect after 12 years down, and thousands more just like this. Know your body is unbelievable in its healing abilities. Yeah, I hear from clients, very often what is all possible. It's amazing. And I have those experiences too. However, when the body gets acidic, as said, dehydration, agglomeration, and swelling occurs, blocking the three vital pathways of energy, blood, nerve, and lymph, causing dis-ease symptoms. Your body is constantly working to rid itself of toxins, acids, byproducts, and obstructions that block and congest itself so it can properly function and heal itself. Don't forget your kidneys and skin are the doorways of removal of metabolic. I think that you pronounce it a little different. Metabolic and tissue acids. When your kidneys stop filtering these wastes and byproducts from the activity of your cells can no longer get out of your body. Dr. Morse always says a cell eats and a cell poops, and that has to get out. I thought it was an interesting way of explaining it to us, but very, very clear. Cell function is then impaired where these toxins, acids have settled, which to this starts the inflammatory process, which is an immune response to attempt to assist the body in removing of these wastes. The medical world thinks your urine should be clear, and that when you see sediment, you have an infection. Totally wrong. It's your body dumping waste. The medical community has killed millions of people because of this. Okay, well, he goes on about the ultimate detoxification program that is more about the herbal formulas that we write for people who need it. And he calls it the art of detoxification, and that is, that is how I see it too. We have to find a balance in what we do, because you often hear people say, oh yeah, well, everybody is different. Now, we all have the same organs. Some we don't have all of them. Like I miss a few here and there. But we in a way we all have the same body, but we are at different levels of our health. And I don't think there's two people alike that are on the same level of health. So in that way, yeah, we are all different. So the rest of the article is about the whole cleansing process and what you can expect. Now, I haven't shared it, well, I just scanned it, so I haven't shared it with people. But there is a list floating on the internet, and all the levels from mild and to extremely severe symptoms that you can have. And I rarely share that with people because then you have certain expectations. And if you put something in your mind that is going to happen, I'm like, yeah, then it probably is going to happen.
Mhm.
And you always talk about that, Gary.
Yes, absolutely. We are the creators. That's why we'll never find the end of the universe or the bottom of a cell. Because we're creating it. We're like, what's next? Where's the end? Where's this? Where's that? And we keep creating things as we go deeper and deeper into things. We're looking for what's next. And you do the same thing. We do it all the time in our, even in our everyday life. You're in a relationship, the relationship breaks up, you're in a crisis, and then you start to create a new story. You find new people, you're shopping different places, maybe, uh, and you create a whole new life. And then maybe that life falls apart. And you go through the same process, but the second time it's not as difficult. Well, detoxification is a lot like that. It's a relationship between you and your food. And we've been trained not to have a relationship, just to mindlessly eat. That's why the 1% call us useless eaters. And they're making all this fake food. They're not eating that food. Guarantee you that. There are farms all over the world that are for the elite, where they don't spray and where they, because they know. Yeah, how could you not know the effect it's having on the people? Um, I think we have a team in place now, whether people agree with it or not, that has the opportunity to change it. Whether it will change or not, that's another whole subject. We have the potential to do it, but we are working against mighty, powerful forces with billions, maybe even trillions of dollars. So we're up against some real tough competition, which is what we've been all along. But when it comes to detoxing, we need to detox the mind, the whole body, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. We need to detox all that out, and the breath is the key. The fruits, berries, melons, and even veggies for people that are so congested they can't, their body can't even handle the energy that's coming in through the fruit, so they have to start out at a lower voltage, which would be your vegetables, and then work their way up into the fruit and the liquids, or maybe do a dry fast where there are no liquids. Um, but you got to remember, as you're doing this, you're breaking toxins loose, and some people are afraid of that. They're in pain, and then if it increases a little bit, or you get some mucus or cold and flu-like symptoms, they panic and they quit because they're not fully aware of the process of what's going to happen.
Yeah, that is exactly why I wanted to share this with people because Dr. Morse in this book he goes over well what to expect. I was more as in if we expect something, then it can or it will happen. So that is why I mentioned I'm careful with sharing this. But there are also a lot of people who start and then have all these symptoms, and cold and flu-like symptoms is only one that happens the most, to be honest. But what it does in this text is it goes exactly into why this is and how it works. And it's not only the cold, it's the fevers. I mean, I had that, and fevers is like what it says here, never stop a fever, and why it is important, and that kids can have fevers. I mean, I know of a young woman with a 3-month old that she is breastfeeding and she wants to detox. And it's like, well, you detox, your baby detoxes too. And yeah, they could get a fever, and people are always so worried. I grew up with and the fever was not a thing that you would run to the doctor with. Right now, when a child or even a person has a fever that is still under 100, they already go to the ER because or find something over the counter to get the fever down. There is a reason that you have a fever, and in this section it goes over that. We talk about the changes in bowel movements. When I talk to someone, I always ask, how are your bowel movement? It's like, well, when I started with fruit, it was like 5 to 7 times a day, and before that, it was only once a day. And I was like, okay, good, there are there are changes. It can happen, and there are a lot of people with inflammation, acidosis again, what is mentioned here in the stomach wall, in the small intestine, in the large intestines, and that can hurt. And you can even have bloody, or at least some blood in your bowel movements. But is it not? If it, I would hope it is not continuously, then I don't worry about it. I had that happen too, and I was like, well, my body hard at work for detoxing.
Hmm.
I scroll. We can talk about it once I did the scrolling through, because I know you don't have the file in front of you. Nowadays, you can have all kinds of aches and pains and old injuries and surgeries. And it was actually quite interesting. And it happened to me during one of my fasts. And I do this pretty regularly because I like it and I feel good on it. And that was actually something that I learned from you, Gary, is I had a broken femur right under the hip bone. So they cut it off and under the hip ball. They cut it off right there and put metal in with a metal ball, and the rest stayed as it was. That's always a painful area. If I move around too much and I get to a point that I can't even move because I can't use that leg at all. So that is just my body telling me, okay, enough is enough. But at one time, I was just sitting, and we were actually at a concert, and I was just sitting, I was not moving, and I got this unbelievable sharp pain right on that spot. And I just a week or 2 weeks before I had that, I remember that you mentioned on the podcast, you just tap on it, and I did, and it went away.
Yeah, we, we are the power. We
Yeah, so
are.
that is what, like, old injuries and surgeries, things can come back, and there are
Hmm.
things that you can do. And Gary talks a lot about that in all the podcasts. Then there was another one, smells and body odors and taste. It's yeah, yeah. For me, the smell got stronger. Body odors, if I even ever had, like you could smell sweat, completely went away. But I do have to say, my taste changed after this last 40-day of the master cleanse.
So,
I
so,
Yeah.
so, so one thing that I don't know if we've ever talked, maybe we have, we probably do every time, but just uh, why we get a cold and flu-like symptom. What is the cause of the cold and flu-like symptom that we get when we're trying to clean our body out? And that is that we're breaking more toxins loose than the 13 channels of elimination the body has to use every day to maintain its health. Well, if we get one of these lymphatic gates congested, stuck on one side of the body or the other, it can't eliminate the toxins fast enough. So they start building up in the body, and they're tucked away in places. The body has tucked these toxins away, and even though you're in pain, you're not in as much pain as you would be if the body wasn't stuffing that down, that pain, that the fear, everything. And you put your body in fight or flight. Well, through our breath, we can pull that back and get us out. And as you're breathing deep belly breaths through the nose and out through the mouth, you're actually moving all your cells, and you're accentuating the body's ability to eliminate those toxins. But if they build up in the body because they've been broken loose and the body can't get rid of them, that's when you get the pain and the cold and flu-like symptom. So we get to control the speed of our detox, which is not something many people talk about. Uh, and anything can be a detox, even if you eat a certain size plate of food every day. If you cut that in half, that's a detox. If you go dry fast, that's a detox. But you're going to be breaking a lot of stuff loose. And so if it gets to be too much, then just have a green smoothie or something like that, because that will slow down the metabolism, uh, and it will slow down the amount of toxins going out of the body without stopping it. If you eat dead food, cooked food, you're going to basically stop your detox. And then you'll have to start over again. And for some people, they may have to do that just to slow down the uncomfortableness of what's going on for that cold and flu-like symptom. But you got to get back at it. You just take a rest for a little bit and then go right back on it. Help your body move this stuff. This is why Qigong is so important. Open those lymphatic gates, the gates for the spinal column, and the movement and the breath to keep the body alive and flowing. It's only when it's not flowing that you get these cold and flu-like symptoms. It gets stuck because it's breaking it loose faster than it can eliminate it. And it can be anywhere in the body. It doesn't have to be. And as far as like cells go, we're talking like 100,000 cells. Nobody knows how many cells we have. Blood pressure has changed. It's coming up, I think, on the fourth time. And every time they change it, more people qualify for statins.
Yeah, of
Plus,
course.
yeah. So that's what I would say about that is the understanding of we control the speed of our detox. Because if we detox too fast and the body can't eliminate it, that's when you get a cold and flu-like system. And the deeper you go into the detox, the more intense that cold and flu-like symptom can be. And it's not a bad thing because you are eliminating. But to do the qigong and the breath and the movement and everything to help move that out, to help push that stuff through, because the body, it absorbs what it needs and it pushes everything else out of the body. And our skin is a big indicator of what's going on inside our body. Rashes and pimples and all of it, blemishes, varicose veins. These are all parathyroid, lymphatic issues. The varicose veins, that's a parathyroid issue, but connective tissue. Um, and everything gets out of whack. The more toxins we get in our body, the body can't function properly because it's not thinking properly. There's too much chaos internally. And as we eat the fruits, the berries, the melons, and drink the Master Cleanse and fruit juices and these things, which Master Cleanse actually is a fruit juice, um, and we liquefy so that we can help the body speed up the elimination without that problem, then you're going to be definitely on the road to Wellville and leaving the road that took you into Hellville, as Dr. Morse would say.
Yeah, it is. People fear the flu because
Yeah,
of so much misinformation
right.
everywhere. And I just went through it. That's why I started my 40 days of the lemon water. I'm still with the master cleanse. Okay.
So, and and I'm really glad you're still doing it because the
Oh,
results from this.
I always drink at least 1 or 2 or maybe even 3
Yeah,
liters of that stuff every day because
good.
I love it. I love the lemon and what it does to my body, for my body. And but going back to I did not start a detox first and then got the flu symptoms. No, I got flu-like symptoms, or I got the flu. No, it's flu-like symptoms, because I had not been eating right, and my body was like, enough is enough.
Yeah.
There you go. Now deal with it and get that junk out. And like I said many times, I like to be perfect. No, I don't. No, not really. It's no fun. I am not perfect. So I do have my setbacks, and I do intend and eat uh, croissants on my downfall. I don't know why. It's like I hadn't had them for like, oh, more than 5 years, and then I was like, yeah, maybe I can. No, I can't. And my body is very clear, and it was not definitely not easy having this, realizing why you have it, and then go through it and not stopping. And yes, I did get to a point that I was like, okay, anything over the counter, I'm here, give it to me. But then it was like, no, I have to get through this, and it will get better. And because I had such a sore throat, I couldn't speak anymore. I was really, really sick. I couldn't lay down because then I started the coughing like crazy, mucus that didn't really want to come out. So I was like, no, I have to keep going. So it is a very interesting process, but we are so often, made so fearful of any symptom that we have in the body. And sometimes of course, I hear this from people. It's like, yeah, well, I had this now for 24 hours, and I was 24 hours. I would be worried if you have it like, a week or 2 weeks. And but yeah, of course you always have to listen to your body, because I don't want to get anyone into pneumonia, which I did have at one time, and that was absolutely neglected, cold or flu. I had it one time, and that was it. And I was diagnosed with asthmatic bronchitis. It was in my early 20s, and I had a lot of things in my early 20s, a lot of stress then too, but and bad food. But I refused the medication, and was told I had certain allergies, and I was like, okay, I move out of the city and stay away from wherever people are smoking, because that was one of the allergies, and I'm not going to take the medication. And that was in my early 20s, so I already knew not to suppress it, and that was just intuitive. That was not something that I had heard or learned. It was just intuitive. No, I shouldn't do that. My sister, on the other hand, had pneumonia every year. And she's not with us anymore. It was my younger sister. I don't know if that is part of her, acidity in the body, but it was sad to see that. And she was a smoker much longer than I was, and she definitely had to give that up. But all in all, it didn't have happen. Anyway, to go back to the fevers, you feel completely miserable when you have a fever. I mean, you're tired, you're completely exhausted, you can't do anything, and you feel like an emotional wreck actually when you having a high fever. It'll go away. It's nothing to be afraid of. And we live in a society where we want, we don't feel good one day, and it has to be okay the next day, because we have to do this, we have to go to work, we have to go to school, we have to do whatever. There is not really time to be sick. And I wish we could change that. When you're sick, you need your rest. Sarah and Katie, absolutely, get in when you feel that you want to say something, because I'm on a roll.
Only thing I was going to chime in about is definitely, the fever and allowing your body to go through and work how it's supposed to be. I mean, definitely listen to your body. We have no idea of knowing where you are in your journey or what your history is. So hearing us, take it all in, let the seed be planted. But if you're still eating we can't even call it a standard American diet anymore. It's kind of like a worldwide diet anymore. You're eating your meats, your porks, your fishes, your eggs, all that stuff. your body's going to go through a purging of toxins a lot differently than ours would per se. So listen to your body. You don't want to like fall into pneumonia. You don't want to fall into all those illnesses that you may be subject to. But if you're on a healing journey and you have been on this journey for a while, when those symptoms do arise, don't freak out about them. Let them come. They are very uncomfortable. But I mean, so is sitting in meditation when you first start. It's uncomfortable trying to quiet your mind. It's uncomfortable doing the yoga pose where you have to be in this contorted position and still find your breath and find your calm and your relax. So it's all part of moving through it all. But the fevers, let them come. I mean, even with my son and his diet the way he is, I feel intuitively, I feel like I know enough from speaking to our doctors. I feel well enough informed to allow his fevers to get up to a certain point. And then, they come down. And fortunately, it has all worked out this way. I'm not saying that it will continue to work that way because he does not follow the path that I do. He eats a pretty unhealthy diet, if I had to say. And, but for now, his body is able to get over the sickness on its own. I'm so tired that it's almost like a trigger word when people immediately say, "Did you take him to the doctor? Did you call into the doctor? Do you have a doctor's note?" I'm like, I literally just called you and told you that he's got a headache, he's got sinus, he's got all this stuff. Why in the world am I on the phone with the doctor already? I don't even know what it's going to come out to be. So that to me is very triggering. Whereas people are so far removed. And I know that majority of those people that are asking me those questions grew up in the same time I did. You had to be bleeding, vomiting, fire, throwing up. I just said vomiting. High fever, like on your deathbed before your parent drug you into the doctor's office.
Yep.
And yet they are looking at me and saying, did you take him to the doctor? I knew a kid one time. He had a fractured collarbone. He didn't go to the doctor for like a week. And the parents were just waiting to see what happened. I mean, so like we're from completely different time. So, but that's where I stand on that.
I agree. Yes. When you experience, and you do, Sarah's absolutely right. And this is what we say all the time. You have to listen to your own body because your own body will tell you what it needs. And I think sometimes that can be very difficult because that's just something that we're not used to because we're always so busy and we're always so looking at the outside, listening to the outside instead of taking a moment, pausing, and listening to your insides. What's your insides telling you? And so I guess I just would recommend, in the beginning, it's going to be uncomfortable. I kind of think about like when you start a new job and you know a little bit, but now you have to meet new people. You kind of have to get a new rhythm. And until you're like, okay, I got this. I know what I'm doing. I know these people and everything like that. And it's not so uncomfortable anymore. It's the same thing when you start anything new. There's a little bit of uncomfortableness until you get a little bit familiar with everything. And you just have to trust the process and you have to just know that, your body's going to speak to you and trust that process. And it's funny because just a couple of days ago, I think I ate 1.5 containers of organic blueberries, but that set off something in me that I was actually really sick for about 36 hours. And I had things coming out of my mouth and out of the other side. And should not have happened because I always eat fruit and vegetables. But for some unknown reason, my body just needed to expel stuff. And so I didn't get scared. I didn't get worried. I just was like, okay, this sucks, but this is the process. And now I just listened to my body. I was like, okay, I just need to rest. And then even after 36 hours, I was like, yeah, I just don't think I could take any solids. And so then I just did a water fast it was more like a dry fast. And then I started sipping on some water and then I started sipping on my orange juice that I love. And it is what it is. And you just go with it. But I didn't get panicked. I just said it sucked and I'm going to rest. So, yes. And also what Tony said at the beginning, when you're detoxing, let's say that you get that cancer diagnosis, or let's say like you have really bad acne and you want to cure that acne, or you want to cure that cancer. While that's what you want to do, your body gets to decide what it's going to heal first. And that's just something. So you can't just say, oh, I'm going to heal my cancer. It truly is a full body experience when you're doing a detox. And so that is kind of important to remember, and not to get frustrated. Like if your acne gets better or gets worse before it gets better, don't get frustrated about that. That's the way your body expels all these toxins and this acidosis and things like that. So, and I know we've talked about that before, but it's always a good reminder.
Yeah, and there's a whole buffet of herbs out there that can help so many different things also. And it's finding the one that's right for you and your area. The closer it is to your area, think the more powerful it is for your body. Like your where you live, that area.
Well,
You know,
and going on with that, Gary, like if you do come into like a health crisis and you're not
Mhm.
sure what to do, then reach out to Gary, reach out to Sarah, reach out to Tony or me. And we are so happy to help you find what it is that you might need to kind of get you to the other side of your health crisis, as sometimes it's called. But don't
Yeah,
just run to the doctor, you know.
yeah. And there's four really things to focus on: proper hydration, nutrition, oxygen through breath, and herbal remedies. I mean, those are the big ones, and even with the herbal remedies, you're getting liquid because you're making a tea, or you're going to take a pill and swallow it. That's the one thing about modern medicine. The most important part of the pill you're taking is a glass of water that you're drinking to wash it down, because your body's dehydrated. And this is going on big time. One of my friends, and I'm going to talk to her today about it. Uh, so they put two massive 5G towers in Quartzsite here, right by the interstate. And her house is just a little ways from there. It's in a mobile home park. And they have this beautiful grapefruit tree out back, and it killed it. Something killed it. It's been there for years. And they put that in, and now it's completely dead. And she's starting to have a lot of issues with the left side. And when she sits outside the trailer, there's a little area there for shade and stuff, and they have fans and that kind of thing. Well, she sits with her face, that side of her face, facing the towers. And she's having eye issues and migraines and all this stuff. So it could be an EMF experience. So something I'm going to talk to her about today anyway. But again, anything that's loading the body, you have to detox from. Even EMFs. The electromagnetic field is crazy, and it's getting more and more intense all the time. And if you're open, your aura is open to that frequency, and it doesn't matter what the frequency is. If it's bad for you, it's going to send a bad wave, a pulsation into the body if the body can't defend itself. So grounding is really important too, because all those EMFs that come in and they tap on the body 1 billion times a second, and it's an interruption because it's a pulse instead of a wave. And unless we change our frequency in our aura to block that out, we are going to have EMF issues. Uh, and that's true with anything. And there are there are frequencies that our aura is open to, like heartache and emotional traumas and all these things. That frequency is open. So when something comes in and triggers that frequency, it goes right into your heart, and you start to, whatever it is for you, panic or binge eat, or eating So it's really important to understand what we're doing is we're not just cleansing the body, we're doing it physically, emotionally, spiritually, and energetically, because they took our breath, and our breath is the link that got us here. And it's the one thing that takes us out at the end. So 70% of our detox is through our breath, but we have to learn not to be afraid to detox. You know, if you're going to do a day a week, a day every 2 weeks, but be constantly doing a little bit. So when you do a lot, it's not as devastating. When I grew up around the farmers and things, they detoxed in the spring and they detoxed in the fall. They detoxed in the spring because the food that they ate was not fresh from the garden. And they were light eaters, so they detoxed again, getting ready to go out in the spring, and then they would eat out of the garden right up through till harvest time, and then they would do another fast to start cutting back on food so for the winter, because they didn't eat as much in the winter because there wasn't as much available. And the only thing that was available was what they canned or prepped ahead of time. A lot of pickled stuff. So the important thing to remember is if you start to have an issue and it gets too intense, just pick a different food category and slow it down and wait till it balances out to that and then hit it again. It might take a day, it might take 2 days, but then go right back on it. And you will find that your body, it's kind of like doing push-ups. You start doing push-ups and you do 3 or 4 and you're going, yeah, that's good. And then the next thing you know, it's easy and you can do 10. And the next thing you know, it's easy to do 15. Detox is the same way. You're cleaning the channels. The only reason that we have problem exercising, doing push-ups, is lactic acid building in the body, and we have to wait for it to get out of there. And as the body gets cleaned and stronger, the muscles get leaner and stronger, you can do more. Same thing is true with detox. Start out. If you want to start slow, start slow. If you want to start fast, but listen to your body and realize you're opening those channels. You're clearing those channels. It's like a tube with mud in it. And you got to clean that tube out, because that's all we are, is a bunch of tubes and valves and sphincters and systems. And if they get congested, you can't congest just one. They all get a little bit, but one is the main focus. So we don't focus on specific things. With herbs we can, but with fruits, berries, and melons and master cleanse and juices, those are just general cleansers. And I call it human Drano myself. You're going in, you're cleaning these pipes out, and you're getting these valves electrically to start firing, like incontinence. That's all it is, an electrical issue. And as you breathe and you learn and you activate the body, just like Tony said, there was a person that was a paraplegic, and their electrical system around their spine grew back together. There isn't anything the body can't repair, but we have to get to it in time to get it. So if we just constantly, I've been detoxing, I don't know, I guess 26 years now. And I am actually going to start increasing it, not decreasing it, because I understand more now than I did when I started. And man, I remember the first time I did it it was around 99, I guess. The end of 99. I could barely keep my eyes open after 3 or 4 days. And after that passed, I felt like I could roll a building right off the foundation. I had so much energy, it was incredible. And many people have that, but you have to work your way to it. So you do a little or you do a lot. It's up to you. And if it starts to get too intense, back off a little bit and then go right back into it. Just give your body a chance to rest, because it puts it under a lot of stress to detox. So give it a rest and then hit it again. Maybe do 2 days a week instead of one. And then maybe pick a week out of the month and do 3 days. You know, you're doing the one or you're doing two every week. And then at the end of the month, you do 3 days. I mean, this is a slow way to clean your system and get your health back. But if you want to go for it, then by all means go for it. That's what I did. I didn't even know what I was doing. I had no idea what was going on. I lost 20 pounds in 10 days. My gums went back to the way they should be. They weren't swollen and bleeding. I had no loose teeth. Uh, I had double vision glasses from the time I was 6 years old. I've never worn glasses since. I mean, it's incredible things that your body can do, but you got to work with it and understand it. And that's the most powerful thing we can do is feel it and listen to it. Move your hand and feel the muscles moving in your body and tapping on your body. We're so busy looking at the outside world, we feel betrayed when the body gets sick. We're not even paying attention to it. So it's really important to understand that it's not always going to go the way you want to go. Even for me right now, I've been doing this for many years. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be something so deep in my body it's never able to get to it. And when I do a cleanse now, it might actually go in and clean that out as well. So, and a good parasite cleanse, whether you're doing herbs or whatever it is you're doing, a good parasite cleanse is a good idea. And Dr. Morse, does he still have his parasite
Yes.
formulas? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he knows about parasites and how devastating they can be to our body. So, to do a cleanse, matter of fact, I think when he starts saying detox, the first thing he's supposed to do is a parasite cleanse, right?
It's part of the whole protocol.
Yeah. Yeah, it comes in with like if you get a kit, it comes with a kit.
Yes, it's always part of it.
Yeah, I've got some of the nastiest tasting stuff you ever had. It's black walnut and wormwood.
Yeah, that will do it.
Oh man, that stuff is rugged. But you know, you have to make the decision whether you're going to stand up inside yourself and clean your body internally.
Yeah, I do feel that, we all need, doesn't matter if you say, oh, I never have any aches or pains. Well, keep it that way. Do a nice cleanse every year. And
Mm-hmm.
that I think that already mentioned that. Do it in the spring or just before. And
Mm-hmm.
it's cleaning out time anyway. I once felt when, in Holland, and I don't, you probably have that here too, spring cleaning was a big thing. Everybody
Oh
did.
yeah.
Not anymore, but when I grew up, it was spring cleaning. And,
Yep.
when I became an adult and I was like, what kind of nonsense is that? Didn't
Mm-hmm.
understand it. And a few years ago, I had this urge for a cleaning. Things needed to be cleaned up. And it was not only the clutter in my house or behind the doors, it was also inside of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel so much better afterwards. So yeah, I think even if you do not feel all the aches and pains and have all the health worries, still do it, and you may make it to way over 100 if you would like to. Some people would say no, don't need to
I
go.
know that is true. There's somebody they were telling me that their mother is in their 90s and she doesn't want to live to 100. She's done.
Yeah, well,
Uh, and then that's a choice, right? Her life. And
I
she's,
knew that with my I was a caregiver for a gentleman and he passed away when he was 103 and a half.
mm-hmm.
And I took care of him for 8 years for his food and taking him to doctors. But that he did not want to live anymore, And he just went very peacefully, sitting in his recliner, and he stopped breathing. But it was all the doctor stuff, how they were, forcing him into things that he didn't feel necessary, and that was what he got most tired of.
Yeah,
And in my family, all the women on my mother's side made it past 100. My mother did not. But my mother favored doctors, so it's a doctor's therapist, and they were pretty much, well, it it sounds a little mean, but they were pretty much her best friends. And she had all kinds of medication, over-the-counter stuff, and she made it to 89 and a half. You would say, okay, it's still a nice, but it's already less than what her aunts and her sister is still alive. She's way in her 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't like to go to doctors, so that may be helpful.
Yeah, my auntie. Well, I called her Auntie Brewer because she lived in Brewer, and I was a kid, so I really didn't never knew her name. I just called her Auntie Brewer. But she would have, I think it was a Manhattan. She'd have one of them every day, and the doctor told her she had to quit drinking, and she goes, "I've outlived 5 of you guys already. I'm not going to quit drinking."
Yeah. Yeah, it's they had like this gentleman too. I mean, he was born in 1915, so he had quite a different start. He grew up with very little on a farm,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it was a different life. And whatever he ate, it was always tiny little bits. It was
Mm-hmm.
never big meals. It was just little bits. And they had their exercise. They had being out in nature and etc. And yeah, I mean, there were, of course, I think he got prostate cancer when he was 70, and he refused to do any treatments.
Mm-hmm.
So that actually never bothered him. And
Mm-hmm.
now it's like with all the treatment, people die a lot sooner. And I see too many people who have their weekly or twice weekly even doctor's visits, and so many medications that is pretty much their food. Yeah. And so it is already 1 o'clock, and you said you had to leave at 1, Gary.
Yep.
So we have to do it without you for a little, because I do want to go. I have been scrolling through the article, and we are at the point of tumor sizes, because that worries people a lot, that the tumor
Yeah.
size got bigger when they started, that it was increased initially. And Dr. Morse says you are beginning the steps of proper hydration with kidney function impairment until your kidney performance has increased. In other words, filtration to some degree is achieved. You're facing the same problem that caused the formation no matter what you eat or take. And it's like, I hope that there are a lot of people who really want to read this, because there's so much explanation there. So it will take a lot of your worries away. And that is the same with blood sugars and blood pressures. And do you have to leave now, Gary?
Uh, if you want to keep talking, I've got some things I have to do to get the van ready.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
And
Yeah, I want to keep it short anyway, because anyone listening, all you need to do is send me an email and that you would like to read this article, and I send it out to you. I email it out to you. Because it would take hours to go really dive into all the details of this article. Well, not hours, but anyway, I was just scrolling with it. I think the ones what, oh yeah, tumor sizes, and we had blood sugars and blood pressures. Like, okay, why is it going up and it should be going down? Give it time. Everything needs a little time. Well, Dr. Morsi says it's adrenals, adrenals, and adrenals.
yeah, and sometimes doing the detox, things will get worse before they get better.
Oh, absolutely. And it's not that we all get detox symptoms. I didn't even see this as a detox symptom. I lost when I first started like 6 years ago. feeling not with certain things. I felt absolutely great. Depression was gone. Pain from the arthritis was minimized, and there was a host of other things that there was no changes in. But I was never worried about it because it's a journey and it can take some time. But the beauty of what Dr. Morse explained here is that don't be afraid about these things. It's all normal. And he explains why these symptoms, why that is happening and how it all works out. So it is, sorry. He has a part here about the weakness of the kidneys and kidney inflammation. It's what is it here? It's about the blood pressure. He likes to see that like 120/60, and he mentioned the systolic number above 130. That's your adrenal, and below 118 are both problems. The lower reflects weakness and the higher kidney inflammation. The lower the systolic, the lower your body's neurological responses as your adrenal glands, as said, produce your neurotransmitters for the autonomic nervous system, which runs everything neurologically. Fatigue, sleepiness, constipation, asthma, COPD, inability to pay attention, also brain fog, narcolepsy, etc., are just some of the side effects, symptoms you may experience with low blood pressure. Your diastolic, as lower blood pressure number, represents your kidneys. The higher the diastolic is above 60, the more active inflammation, acid stagnation your kidneys have in them. So you can see if you have 90 diastolic pressure, you are 30 points too high. That's a lot of inflammation and dysfunction of the kidney and the body in general on that side. Now, how many different blood pressures do you have? At least two. You have two kidneys and two adrenal glands, and you always check both arms for right and left blood pressure. Your kidneys and the adrenals on top are your number one priority in detoxification, always. So then there is heartburn and gas, which we hear often about it. And I know a lot of people easily take something they don't have that burning. And yeah, it hurts. And it can even happen when you just start with your detox. But I must say, I hear about gas, but I don't hear as often about heartburn. Heartburn is more when people say, "Yeah, well, I had a pizza," or yeah, and then you have the very acidic cooked tomatoes on it. That's never helping, and the grains from the pizza is not helping you either. He explains that here poor production of sodium or bicarbonate from the pancreas, as well as poor bile production and flow from the gallbladder, also causes acid reflux. Now, I'm probably one of the lucky ones because I haven't had a gallbladder since I was in my, 19, 20 years old, a long time ago. And I never had the acid reflux unless I ate something that was like, nope, you shouldn't. So let me see. And then what we do see a lot is the lung congestion and breathing. And that is something that we have to be very aware of that, especially with asthma and emphysema. And
Tony, while we are in talking about the lungs and asthma and emphysema, we do have a question from Lisa Lash in the chat.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. She's in North Carolina and it's heavy pollen season. So many people are getting severe allergies. What are your feelings on allergies? Is one born with it, or is it part of detox, just a trigger?
Yeah, the thing with allergies is that your allergies don't even stay the same. And I had allergies, of course. The allergies that I had was the fumes from cars and from cigarette smoke. Now, who can really handle that anyway? I mean, it would, if you're not a smoker and there's a smoker right next to you, you will start coughing. So, but I know of people with allergies for dogs, for cats, and yes, of course, the pollen. But I heard from a friend of mine that this year that she had less issues because she was on a healthier diet. And I absolutely believe that once you are on the correct diet for you and you find your balance, your allergies will disappear. They will just go away. So there's nothing to take. The whole thing is, we cannot take anything for it. It's like of course, we do need to do the breathing exercises. I mean, Gary always talks about that. And I wouldn't say there is a specific breathing technique for for allergies, but trust that with the right diet, it will get less and less until you realize, my gosh, I haven't been sneezing or coughing at all this season. That's when you know.
Yes, and I'll piggyback on that, Tony, because just even in my own experience as because I used to have like seasonal allergies and it was pretty consistent. And then as I've been cleaning out my body, they're not, it's just not happening anymore. Like once in a while my nose will run clear, but it is not, my allergies are not like they used to be. So I do think when people talk about allergies, I do think that that's just their body's response to things that are going on around them, and it's a way of the body kind of like detoxing. But the cleaner you get your body system, then like you said, the allergy symptoms will just kind of dissipate. And then as you're going through these symptoms, if you are, I personally, this is just me, when I would have these symptoms, I wouldn't take anything because I knew that that was my body's way of detoxing. But if you are truly miserable, there are some more natural remedies that you can take. But I mean, you just have to know that's your way of your body's detoxing. And that's just the way I feel about it because I've seen where I was and now where I am.
Yeah, there is a difference, and it may not be from one season until the next. But when your body heals, your responses to outside things will be different. And now everybody is quiet. Are you guys still there?
I'm still here. I just muted myself because
Okay.
I've got people around me. So I just, yes.
No, that's okay.
I'm still here, just driving.
Oh, you're driving now.
Scary.
Okay.
And I muted my mic because I was opening and closing doors and stuff.
Well, Lisa says, thank you, Tony. Yes, my feelings.
Yeah, Lisa, I know you've been at this for quite some time, and you're pretty much always here, and I always send you the article, so I will send you this one too. You don't even need to ask. I know you want it. But it things takes time, We are also expecting that I mentioned this many times, that magic pill. We start a detox and then in a week we want to feel that everything is good now. But it's like what Gary said, you are at it for 20 plus years. And at first when I started, it's like, okay, my age, it's gonna take me about 7 years. And then I'm all healthy. And then I was like, okay, I'm that old then. And then it's like once you're out at it, the first year, the second year, you still think, it's been 2 years. And then I realized it doesn't matter. There will be no changes in things like what am I going to do different? This is forever. You just need to find your balance, and that's not always the easiest one. How can you maintain what you're doing? And learning more and not having the fear, because you can do everything the way that Dr. Morse teaches it, and Gary and I and Sarah and Katie. And if you are a person that has a lot of fear and keeps going to doctors and keeps doing tests and I just got a question from someone with a tumor, and it was, well, how do I know if this works? And I found that actually a tough question. Or actually, I found the answer tough because I wouldn't even test it. But people, I think they're still at a point, they're not sure if this can actually work because it sounds so simple, change your diet, don't put any junk in, and your body will heal. Now, well, okay, but it isn't, it actually is that easy. But for people to really trust in that and trust in their body and trust in the signs, I am like, if you feel good and you don't have any symptoms, that you had before, then you're good to go. I mean, now you go to a doctor and then you have all that anticipation, well, maybe a good one, possible too, expecting that you healed, and then you do that after 3 months and you found, well, yeah, the tumor is a little less, but still. And what are you going to do then? Give up? I'm like, okay, I understand this is a very heavy topic, especially when we talk about tumors, because there has been so much fear created around it. I know the natural hygienic diet for all the people from the natural hygienic, they say, tumors are actually your healers. They protect you. So, so it's part of how I learned to not worry about that so much because what else can you do? It's, you cannot go into chemo if you think, well, it didn't shrink enough as I wanted it or expected it. You just keep going. And it's you do the breathing exercises, the elimination, the opening of the six lymphatic gates. You go into nature, you do grounding, you hug a tree, and of course your diet. I mean, and some herbs, and be happy and learn about your body. Embrace when you have all these things that are in this article. Then it's like, and they are well explained, and embrace them. I had some weird pains, and I started, first time I had it was actually my kidneys, and it lasted for 3.5 days, and it made me laugh because I knew what I had done. Ate something that I shouldn't have, 7 months on fruit, and my body responded right away. And that is when I learned you embrace these little things. And after 3.5 days I was perfectly fine. If it would have lingered for 3 months, yeah, then I would have worried. And we talked about that in a previous podcast that was called disease symptoms versus detox symptoms, because there is a difference. So you may want to listen to that then too. I want to close it up.
Tony, I wanted to add a couple things there, but yeah, I was just talking with somebody the other day, and they do have a rather large lump in their breast, and they do not want to go the medical route. This has nothing to do with speaking with me or anything. This is just, or even listening to any of us, because they don't even listen to us. They're just older, and they've just decided to, let their body do what it has to do. It's not causing them any pain or anything. And we just kind of got on the subject of that, about tumors, and, how they are really, it's our body's way of actually trying to save us. And so, this sounds extremely weird, I'm sure, to most people, but it's like, be grateful that your body's doing that and love your tumor. Help it, give it the strength to help contain any of the toxins that it's holding on to within your body. Give it the strength so that it doesn't, pop open or rupture and let anything spill out. I mean, it's like, this miracle thing that our body does, where it's grabbing onto those toxins and is holding it to prevent those toxins from getting to any of our vital organs and stuff. Now, if you continue to live the way that, these toxins would have gotten into your body, yes, that tumor may grow and it may spread and it may touch other organs. And then, you're into, multiple stage cancers and stuff. But, not for everybody, it doesn't end that way. There's a lot of cancers out there that are in most people's bodies that you may never even see your whole entire life. You could, something could happen where You don't make it home because of a car accident, or just walking down the road one day, or you could have a heart attack, or you could fall. I mean, there's so many other things out there that could happen before cancer actually takes over your body and stuff like that. So love your body, take care of your body. And when you do have these things, don't freak out and get scared of them. Just ask yourself, what am I going to do? Am I going to do something? And this is stuff I used to ask myself too when I was starting this journey. If I felt something or I saw something, I said, am I going to go to the doctor? No. Am I going to change my way of eating? Yes. Is it going to be hard? Of course. Am I going to get out and start exercising and stuff? No, I don't feel like that. So, you really got to ask yourself those questions. What path are you going to take? What are you going to do about this? And you have to be okay with whatever route you decide to take. Remember, we all have free will, and nobody can force us to do something that we don't want to do. But don't live in fear of it, and just accept whatever fate you're choosing to have within your body, because it is your body, your experience, and your journey. Do your research, talk with us, talk with medical doctors, talk with family, and at the end of the day, sit on it, meditate with it, and you do what you feel is best for your body. After saying all of that, we do also have a question from Matt in the chat, and he wants to know what is recommended for getting rid of eye floaters.
The same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, how can I?
The detox. Now, the other thing though too is the stuff that Gary talks about all the time is opening up the lymphatic gates, especially in your head, and get that lymph moving, because isn't floaters just stagnated lymph in your eyes?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Same with, detached retinas, glaucoma. We're working with stuff like that with a horse right now. And through the help of AI, they have gone in and found charts and systems and massage techniques to do on horses, which I'm going to start doing this week. And we're going to see all the process of that too. And, just get that lymph moving, and, get the fluid in the body to help move it as well too. And that fluid is going to be your water and your juices and your fruits.
For that breast cancer too, I'd like to say that gate 1 right here, this is lymphatic gate. You need to make sure that's open, 1 finger above and below the collarbone. I have the gates. I have plenty of videos on that, and some are on Tony's pages also. And we just go out like this to open that. We do that 9 times. You can do it 18 if you want to. If it's sore, be very gentle. It should be gentle anyway. And then gate 3 is under the arm right here, right up in the armpit and down like this, and open this gate. Breast cancer is these gates being closed, and the toxins can't get here to get to gate 1. So we open this up and get right down to the lower rib and come up across. And then this is not part of the gate, but whatever side it's on, you want to do both sides anyway. You want to start just pushing that tissue, opening that up, and don't push on the tumor, because we don't want to cause any pain there or anything. We want to try to work around it and tap on your sternum. And you want to get that lymph moving in here, because this is all congested. So it's really important to do that. So that's what I wanted to say about the breast cancer issue. And do both sides, even if there's no tumor on the other side.
Wonderful. Thank you, Gary. I will definitely pass that on. And if they do it, they do it. If not, again, that's their choice.
Yeah, and I want to answer to Matt. What I found, Matt, is that in the first few months when I started with the change in my diet, and I had horrible floaters. It was like constantly these black little things in front of my vision. They were gone. It was only a few months, actually, it was gone. And you can find the videos on, if you go on Facebook and you look for Gary Parent, or you go on YouTube, and you are actually on my channel right now. There is a section that is with Gary's videos only. We have to add a few again. But you can see those on the playlist, Gary Parent. And there you see the opening up of the 6 lymphatic gates. And I was just going to mention that My husband just came home from work. I haven't seen him in 5 days, so I'm gonna go.
That's wonderful. Quick question though, is the video that Gary just did that you posted to you to Facebook, is that on your YouTube channel as well under the
No,
playlist?
the newest one, no, not from the last 2 weeks, but Gary repeats things, and you will always be able to find the
Repeating is how you know it's the truth. I mean, you know, that's we've all said we're all broken records. You're going to hear the same exact thing over and over again from all of
Right.
us.
yeah.
But yeah, the one you did on Facebook, it's, you know, you're straight to the point. It's not like buried within the show too. So I think that's really good if we could
Yeah,
somehow
I'll
get that
look.
on
I look for
YouTube.
it and get it uploaded to
Wonderful.
YouTube also.
Yeah,
Well,
I
hope
have
that
some. I have a little bit of wind issue in there in a couple of spots, but
we got
this-
it though.
Yep, we got it.
All right, guys. I would say
Thank
till
you all
next.
so much.
Yeah, till next week.
Love you guys.
Love you all
And,
too.
yeah.
Bye,
Much
Katie.
love
Bye,
to
Gary. Bye,
everyone.
Tony. Bye, everyone in the chat. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.